Hey everybody, CyberKnife here, and today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm actually going to do a proper review of a tank. Now, being a smaller channel, I can't really review tanks that have been reviewed ad nauseum by everybody from Pz.Kpfw to Nethervoid and all those other great YouTubers that do a great job. There's no sense reinventing the wheel or beating a dead horse or whatever metaphor you want to throw in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to review this Panzer 4D. And it's a newer tank. It was just introduced not that long ago, and I've taken quite an interest in it lately. Now, a lot of people tend to ignore the lower tier tanks in World of Tanks. Now, I myself, I don't play tier 1. I don't play tier 2. Well, actually, I'll show you what I play here. They have a nice little breakdown in stats where you can go and look at your infographics. Now, I find in order to be a well-balanced, well-rounded player, I prefer to play just kind of like a bell-shaped curve. You see, I don't play many tier 1, not very many tier 2. Tier 10 I don't play a whole lot right now. Now that I'm into Clan Wars, I'm playing tier 10 a lot more. My favorite is probably tier 9. I really love playing my E75 at tier 9, etc. But definitely, as you can see, I really enjoy playing my Panzer C at tier 3, and I also enjoy tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, 7 a lot. And there's a pretty even distribution of games, as you can see in there. Now over here you'll see that I tend to play heavies a lot more than I don't play artillery ever. It's not because I don't appreciate artillery, don't like them. I just simply lack the patience and skill to play artillery, and so I leave it alone. I enjoy playing TDs a certain amount, especially turreted TDs like my M8A1, which is one of my favorite tanks to play because especially I love getting in tier 6 games with my M8A1. It's just a really flexible machine, really able to scout and do whatever. But as you can see, I don't play Japanese, Chinese. I'm just starting to get into the Soviet. I'm going to be playing the Batchat with the French. Germans are my first love. I really like them a lot. I'm just starting to learn the English tree right now, but I also like the American tree. You can see by the distribution of vehicles how I play. I do really enjoy I warm up every day, play one or two Panzer C games. My first jets I warm up. Then I play E75, love the M8A1. Now we're going to be talking a little bit about the M8A1 in this review, so let's get back to that. Anyway, back to the garage. So they add this new tank in here in tier 4 in the German, and where are we at here? And I guess its most comparable tank is the Panzer III. It's interesting how they kind of split this whole tier 4 thing when they came into 9.1. But what I noticed is that I really am loving playing this tank, even though they are very different from anything else that you're going to see. They have a lot of advantages to this Panzer IV. Now, when you're looking at its closest competitor, a medium, I actually prefer to think of this what I call the VD, the 4D. This little bad boy is more like a heavy scout to me, but it's got a little beefier hit points. Essentially, the guns on this tank are just absolutely terrible on the 3. Now when we go, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Let's get in here and take a look at this. Now take a look at this gun here. Look at the penetration on it. Okay, look at the penetration. This is the best gun that you're gonna get here. And then go ahead, we'll X out of all that, and we'll go ahead and go back and take a look at what we're going to be talking about today, the 4D. Now this is the gun of choice here. I'm getting 103 penetration, almost never need to use APCR rounds. 110 damage at tier 4 is just excellent. Now the dispersion might scare little people off. I can work with 4. Anything with a 3 in front of it is golden to me, no problem, but some of my best tanks are over 0.4 dispersion, and case in point on that is going to be how I play. And just because it says 0.4 doesn't mean you can't snipe with it. I'll snipe all day long and twice on Sunday with my M8A1. And look at the gun we're talking about here. Okay, .43 dispersion, beautiful aiming time on that, okay? And look at what I'm doing with this thing. And this is not seal clubbing either. I mean, this is not, you know, this tank, if it gets touched, it dies. It's a one-shot tank for just about everything. And I'm able to lay down some pretty decent, accurate fire with this. So, you know, that, and I'm going to show you, we're going to get into a game real quick here. I'm going to show you just how well this thing plays. But this is my standard loadout for this. 30 armor in the front. It's useless. Here's the big thing you want to know about this tank. The armor on the side, well, it's trash armor all around. Cupola 30. Everything in the front's pretty much 30. You'll get some weird little mantlet areas like every tank where it's like 300 or something, but whatever. Here's what you need to know. In this area, if you get hit, let me think, I'm coming around. Yeah, actually, it's right here. Coming around any corners, you get hit in here, you are ammo racked. This is 20, all in here. It's a auto, pretty much an auto pen. Anything you'll come across can pen you here, and you will get ammo racked time and time again. The video I'm going to show you right now really goes into that, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. Ammo racked like crazy. Now, I really kind of like having camo available to me, but I'm thinking about switching this out. I've only got, let's see how many games I've got on this thing. This, you know, you got to keep in mind here, I'm not an expert in this. I'm just now learning this tank, and I'm just trying to pass on the information that I have available right now. Where am I looking? The 4D, I'm way too far down. Sorry to subject. Here we go. So you know, I've only got 37 games in this thing, but we're talking, you know, not bad. Not bad. 73% hit rate, and we're talking a .4 gun. So let's not. I'm not going to bore you too much longer on this. Just let me say a couple other things. In my loadout here, I always like to have vents if I can. Binocs, really needing them in this tank because I love to push out that view range as far as I can. Now, this tank, as compared to, say, but we keep comparing it to the M8A1, and I'm going to tell you right now, the biggest problem that I have with this gun, right, is the aim time. 2.5 may not seem that awful, but on this tank it is unbelievably long, especially for this first shot. The very first shot you fire, it just takes forever to dial in. However, the rate of fire being 15, once you're dialed in on that first shot, you will reacquire, the circle will shrink and be ready to go when you're reloaded. So it's really not a problem, that aim time, but it is a huge problem if you're playing pop out. Huge problem when you're cresting a hill or something, you want to dial in and take that first shot and get out of there. It's a real problem. So I don't have a very skilled crew right now, but that's one of the first things I'm considering getting rid of, this camo. I'm considering getting in a gun laying drive. I'm guarantee you that my gunner, for sure, when we get higher skills with this guy, he's going to be definitely going to want snapshot, and I believe on my driver too, I'm going to want to go definitely with smooth ride, because you may think, well, how's that going to help you? What that does is it ends up taking your circle and making it smaller to start with, so even though it's only for on the move, once you stop moving, you've begun with a shorter or smaller circumference circle because of that skill. Therefore, it will improve your aim time just like a gun laying drive does, or a V-stab, because you're starting with a smaller circle to begin with, if that makes sense. So enough talking, let's get on and show you this guy. I picked one game that really, I think, really demonstrates just what this tank is all about and showcases its strengths and weaknesses. So let's jump right into that. As you can see, loadout 60 AP, 7 APCR is what I'm going with now. You could even go with less than that, maybe even 1 or 2. I always like to have HE around. I generally, I've said this before, I'll just go over it again. I bring large repair kits, I bring large first aid kits. I do not use them unless it's an absolute emergency and that I believe that using it will keep me alive and most likely end up in winning the game, or really assisting us in winning the game. Otherwise, I don't use it. They run me 10K a piece, and I'm actually out of them right now from having bought them on sale, so you're talking 20K a pop to use these. I will use this anytime, though. This is generally, that's why I bring the 2. But anyway, these give a nice passive effect, so let's get right into it. Alright, here we go again, and we're back with the Panzer 4D. This is going to be Red Shark. Got good matchmaking here, 72%, but I'd like to remind you that XVM it can give you kind of a good idea of what you're dealing with as far as individual players, but these win percentages, don't believe them. It means nothing.
Move out.
So basically, here we go. Now, I'm going to speed this up a bit. Generally, what I'm going to like to do in a game like this, especially if I'm higher tier, is I'm going to want to take this central area, the mid hills. And I'm going to show you why in a second. We'll get some interesting early play going on here. Now, I'm going to go right into my view. Get a T40 here. Not sure where that round went. Take a blind shot. No clue. Now we're about to have an encounter with this A20, and you're about to see what I'm talking about with ammo rack problems. We are about to get ammo racked. I don't want to give away too much here, but now this may or may have not been a wise move, but generally I like to control this area here. And looking at this guy, I saw he was a 44% player, not too many games, so I thought I had a pretty good chance of coming out on top in this. So anyway, I'm going to go into free cam here and get it up to about half speed. Now, right off the bat, he tags me coming over. That's a very nice shot. He put into me there. Now you'll see, can you see where he got me there? Just right above my binoculars there's a hole here. I can't really do it, my map pops up, but look right here. That is where your ammo rack is, and in the course of the game I am gonna be repeatedly shot here, and it's not because people are aiming for it, but it's just that's a very common place to get hit, and I'm fairly sure that that ammo rack is duplicated on the other side, so it's extremely easy to get ammo racked here. And I'd like to point out I made my first mistake in my little I kind of choked there, and I hit the oh shit space bar, which is my never use in case of emergency large repair kit, but it's really not going to make a difference, as you're going to see in a second. But anyway, that's the first thing I'd like to point out. So that's, you know, we're talking 20 armor on the side. You are butter. Anything is going to pen you there. So right off, we're at 243. Take this up to full speed for you. Now I'm going to go into my view. Now as I come around here, really got to get rid of this guy. Now he's showing me his side. Now look, ammo,
but at least it didn't explode.
Ammo racked again. Exact same thing. You think I'd learn? Look at that. 2 spots. Boom, boom. Great play. I'm really showcasing what a spectacular unicum I am. I know you're dazzled with my play, but give me a break, man. You know, I'm shaking out the rust. We're reserve judgment until the end of the game, please. Now I'm getting a little assist here from my friend, the Chihi. He's helping me out. And I'm going into my gun cam here. I'm going to go full speed, actually. There's no sense in watching this. So anyway, the Chihi took him out for me. So what I like to do, now I'm just going to say a word about this particular map. I really do like this position. It's very powerful. Your artillery's safe for most. You just really need to watch. Some people can make crazy long shots from over here, as you'll see. And these guys are doing a great job of keeping this clear. If people get into here, this is an untenable position. So we're at normal speed. I'm in my gun cam, I believe. I'm just trying to light the other side, see what's going on. Now, I do not have Sixth Sense. That is quite important to know on this particular. Now we are really not doing all that well, you know. You see what I'm talking about? 72% win rate, my ass, right? Or win percent. So anyway, here's the T82. Remember,
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
That's an accurate weapon right there. You know what I'm saying? And we still haven't had to use any prem rounds. Well, we're not going to. A top tier, this is way more than enough pen on this gun with regular rounds. Now I don't have Sixth Sense, but I know I'm spotted here. I'm not going to hang around. Not going to hang around for a second shot. You're just asked for it. Now here comes a Matilda.
Target unlocked.
Matilda can be a problem, even though it's 75 armor all the way around, and this is like whatever, how many pen, 100. You'd be amazed how often you can bounce. And I'm a one shot, not for him, but for just about anything else. So the Matilda is gone. He was pretty much our primary threat. Now I'd really like to get rid of that SAU 40. He's their best remaining player by a damn sight. He's wisely retreated to cover there. Now this M3 Lee and I are about to have an engagement here. This is interesting. I'm going to pull back here and go from free cam. Excuse me, my mouth is dry. I'm trying a little coffee here. Okay, so basically I don't have Sixth Sense. That SAU is deadly accurate. I'm lit now for sure just by proxy. The M3 sees me now. He's going to start maneuvering to come over the top at me, as well he should. And I am going to go into regular cam. Yep, ammo racked again. Now just I'm going to interrupt this just one more time. Let me just show you this. Look at that. See the third hole right there. 1, 2, and 3. That's 3 ammo racks. Both repair kits are gone. Thank God for RNG, huh? 4 hit points. Now check this out. I got 4 health left, and I'm ammo racked, and I've got an M3 coming at me. But you know, come on, it's an M3. You know, if I get killed by this guy, I don't deserve to. I deserve to die. So let's just say that. So here's how you handle a TD in this type of situation. You know, I know most everybody knows this, but just let him come towards you, and then of course I'm facing forward. You'll see what I'm going to do here. No need to talk about it. I'm going to actually leave fixed cam. See, I'm kind of juking him. Now I'm going to turn behind him. Still reloading. Ammo rack. Stand behind him. Want to put right up the tailpipe. Now I am in an artillery safe position essentially, but there are some artillery like Bishops that can drop them right in your back pocket, almost straight down like a mortar, so always best to relocate no matter what. Now we just lost my buddy the Chi-He over there to that Matilda, so I'm maneuvering to light him and or take a shot at him. He's wisely keeping a building between himself and I. Is that correct? Me and I and him and I, whatever. So let me go into gun cam view. I got nothing so far. It's interesting though.
Gotcha.
This is pretty. I mean, come on. You know, this thing is butter. It's paper. You don't want to rely on this armor, but the gun on this thing is incredible. It's, I don't know. It's TD-ish in a way. It's kind of scoutish in a way. I'm sure I'm not gonna end up with these as my final components. I love having binocs. Look in this case right now. What would I do without binocs right here? You see, a lot of people criticize me for having binocs and posts and whatnot, but I use binocs sometimes on heavies. I don't like to rely on scouts. I scout for myself. And when I play with my E75 and I have binocs on it, I usually get as much XP from spotting damage as I do, because I'm basically stealing everybody's spotting damage. So there goes that SAU, and unfortunately due to my poor reload time I'm not going to get that last one. So anyway, excellent game there. I really do think that kind of showcased the abilities and the weaknesses of the 4D. You cannot rely on this armor whatsoever, but it is maneuverable, it is fairly quick, it has a decent view range, it has an excellent gun. I mean, this is just ridiculous. At tier 4, the 75mm armor piercing, you know, you're talking 103 pen at tier 4. This tank is highly competitive all the way up. You know, it plays in tiers 4, 5, and 6, and there's nothing at tier 6 really that you can't deal with. It's wise to usually try to keep engagements in this thing as far as you can, especially when you're low tier, but I am never afraid to use this as a scout. I've had some pretty decent games in this. I'm really happy with it, and I hope that watching these kind of games encourages some people to consider playing lower tier games. And I'm not it's not always about seal clubbing, guys. You don't always have to go get a Panzer C or a T18 or, you know, platoon up and go seal clubbing. There's some really interesting and competitive games going on down in the lower tiers, and especially in tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, tier 7. It's not all about tier 8, 9, and 10. You know, tier 8, 9, and 10, no doubt about it. It is very competitive. It's where you're going to find the best players, the most hardcore play. I enjoy it too. I usually play 1 or 2 games a night, at least at tier 10. A lot of games I play at tier 9. Of course, you see my E75 is, you know, one of my absolute favorites to to play in. As a matter of fact, let me go to the garage. Hang on one second. So anyway, back in the garage, just to wrap this up, I hope this gave you a little understanding about what this little tank is capable of, its weaknesses, its strengths and limitations, and I hope this maybe, you know, kind of gets some of you unicums and guys that have 10 and 20,000 battles maybe excited about coming back down to play some of the lower tiers, not just for stat padding. You know, I find a lot of very interesting and competitive players that, you know, down in those lower tiers where you can really, you know, kind of stretch your legs. It gives you a chance to zip around the map. You know, when you play in top tiers, you're kind of locked down into certain strategies, into certain parts of the map with certain tanks. And at these lower tiers, anything goes, and no one's going to criticize you if you want to go this way or that way, if you want to try doing this or that. And as you can see, you know, I'm kind of ADD. I don't like doing the same stuff, you know, all the time. I like to play a wide range of tanks and a wide range of levels, and I kind of encourage you to do the same thing. I find myself getting really burned out. I used to, you know, just play tier 8 and 9, 7, 8, 9 all the time. I have a good friend of mine who, you know, he really doesn't like to play lower tier at all. He just wants these big beefy machines that are up at, you know, tier 7, 8, and 9, and I think you kind of miss a lot of the really more interesting gameplay that can go on in World of Tanks. But anyway, enough of my preaching. I hope this gave you some kind of better understanding about this tank, and if you enjoyed it, you know, throw me a like or a subscribe, and maybe I'll do some more of this. This is a pretty long one. I went a little bit long. I do apologize for that. In the future, I'll kind of, you know, pare this down and focus in a little bit more, but I was a little bit all over the map here. But thank you very much for watching, and Semper Fi.